Okie dokie. Broad reveal.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are we doing today? Wait. Welcome to the Sun Dragon Sideshow.
The Adventures of Liz and Rebecca.
I'm Rebecca. I'm going to stand up so I can show off this. I'm the owner of Sun Dragon Art and Fiber. I forgot to tell people that on my morning meditation video. Not morning. Hang on. It's our Monday, remember? On my tips and tricks video yesterday until the very end, I had a hot mess yesterday.
It's been one of those weekends.
Yes.
And there was a time change involved. And it's pouring rain.
Oh, I forgot to
And
change the
it's
time
just-
in my car. It's still going to mess me up when I go home.
No. We changed the time in the car on our way to pick up a Sam's Run yesterday when we were stuck in roadwork traffic.
I can't, as a safety precaution, I cannot change the time in my car unless it is stopped and in park. And by the time that happens, I've forgotten I need to change the time in my car. Anyway, I'm Rebecca. I'm the owner of Sun Dragon Art and Fiber in absolutely miserable, raining downtown Brevard, North Carolina.
I'm Liz. I'm the Minion there.
Yes.
I feel like we've done this already, but maybe not.
No, I said I'm Rebecca, and then I got sidetracked.
Oh.
Hello. Welcome to our world. Okay, so so I did. Oh, look, that the needle that's holding my sleeves is poked. I'm like, what is that shiny thing? My sleeves are on a really long needle on one side and a really long stitch holder on the other. But this, and as long as I don't look at myself sideways. Sorry, it's not a thing.
No.
This is one of the things I consider this something I got done this weekend because it's not finished, but I finished this part of it. It's been on the needles for what feels like forever. So I just had to show it off to y'all before I sit down, and I will wear it for all today. This is this underneath, not this. I'll talk about this in a second. This is my stripes sweater by Andrea Mowry.
It looks so cool.
And as long as I look at myself straight on, I can ignore what is happening as I get older in the pandemic. Aha. So this is one of the ones that I was a little worried because I picked a lot of positive ease in this. It's 50 inches, whereas my measurements right now are probably maybe 44 or so for the girls. So it's a lot of positive ease, but it's flowy and nice. Again, as long as I don't turn sideways. No one look at me sideways. And I'll stop. I will make the attempt to stop obsessing about this right now.
I think once it's blocked, it's all gonna lay flat, and it's just
well, it's a little flowy here because it's not blocked, and even if it doesn't lay flat, that's not what bothers me. I'm what bothers me, and I'm going to sit down and try to stop talking about it.
Like, because you have a t-shirt. I mean, you gotta wear a t-shirt under your sweater anyway, but the t-shirt causes some of that alpaca wonderful yummy goodness to cling to you.
Yeah, but I'm always going to have something under it, so it's not clinging to me. It's just my girth from the side view that upsets me,
but the sweater covers it up.
I can still tell that I'm wide. That's all. And yes, I know there's probably a lot of people out there who say I'm wider. Shut up. We're all our own worst critics, I find, and and I also someone else's retort could be, well, you could do something about that, as in start exercising again, which I'm not doing right now. And my reply to that is, I know I could. Will I? Probably not. So I have to accept what I am, but it's really hard. It's really hard, and I'm going to try to let it go because, yes, I know we're all different shapes and sizes, and that's one of the things I try to embrace. It's just really hard. It's easy to say that, and it's hard to embrace on yourself, right? So.
It is also a pandemic, and a close friend told me one day she ate another Oreo, and I reached for more. She was like, my underwear still fits, so it's good. I'm like, I'm going to embrace that.
Yeah. I'm just going to try not to look at myself from the side. I don't mind it from the front. It's the width from the side. But, yeah. We love everybody, and we try really hard to love ourselves. Okay. So the other thing, we could go back and that's pretty. We can go back and forth or what have you.
Well,
or
show off your other finish.
Did you start another one?
No, I had to frog it out because I was.
Why? Oh, that's right. Haha, you're not ahead of me anymore. But it's not a competition. Of course you will be. I have too many things going on. What the? Anyway. Okay, so I do like this. This is really fun. And
it's cute.
I will say about the stripes before I move on. It's got all ruffled. The red, which is the maroon, which is the top collar here. And actually, it's a pretty wide collar. It's wider than I thought it would be. But it's not as wide as my Wintersole. I think it's still okay. It's the top and it's the bottom. I made this, it said to go 12 inches from the armholes for the longer size, and I went 13. I could have, my sorrel went 15. Mm-hmm. I could have gone even longer, but it was at the right place to stay in the stripes order and get the bottom cuff the same as the top cuff. I have noticeably less maroon than any other color because of that. So I'm hoping to do the sleeves 2 at a time so that if I run out of maroon, that might just be where my sleeves stop. It could be that the cuffs on my sleeves will not be able to be maroon because I will run out. And I have been selling these kits that up to my size or about my size are only supposed to take 4 skeins of the Hearthstone, which is this lovely drapey, even though this is a sport weight sweater, all intents and purposes, it's kind of almost fingering weight. It might end up being a 3/4 length sleeve because I decided to go longer on the torso. We put together kits that are based on, what are you staring at?
Oh, I was just looking at how much longer you would have to go to get the same repeat. You would have to make it almost tunic length.
Yeah, well, or the other thing is, she says that you can either make the cuff down here in whatever color, or switch, even if it's not in the right sequence, switch to the color of the top. It would have been fine if I'd done that. It's just kind of satisfying to not do that.
She wouldn't have liked it, though.
I would have adjusted my thinking a lot. So we'll see what happens with this, but that's why I think I want to try to do the sleeves 2 at a time. Even if it might be 1 stripe, then 1 stripe. I might just put them on the 2 circulars to do 2 at a time and see. I know that, shout out to Cheryl, she was having trouble with a seam appearing where you switch from needle to needle, which can happen. Sometimes that blocks out. We all hope it blocks out. But that's my goal on that one is to hope that it all, I still have a fair amount left. In fact, I was thinking about weighing them, but I might wait until Liz is talking about one of her things to surreptitiously do that and not waste your time out there in YouTube land. Because I have so many things to talk about, and we want to talk about Liz's things too. And when you have all over increases and big girls, sometimes it puckers. Okay. So the thing I finished, I finished a couple. This is finished and blocked. If you want to see what it looked like laid out blocking, it's on my Instagram feed. And now it's sewn so I can wear it. This is my Ashes and Soot by Melanie Rice. It is so pretty.
It is.
It is. This is Fiber Spates Vivacious Decay in the Pebble Beach. See that from the side? Isn't that so pretty? It has elongated stitches that use a cable needle to move back and forth. She does have instructions for how to do that without a cable needle if you don't want to use a cable needle. But this is the one that I tried to make the medium size because it said only 1 skein for medium size of DK weight yarn, but my DK weight yarn did not have as many yards as her DK weight yarn. So I got within 3 or 4 rows of finishing and ran out of yarn and had to frog it back to the small size. But, and this is, I kind of, when I blocked it, had to gently mush it back into the small size shaping because I didn't gauge swatch before because it's a cowl, famous last words. And superwash, if you let it, will grow when you block.
Well, and we are really, when people come in looking for pattern help, picking yarn and whatnot, we always tell people, look at yardage.
Don't go by weight, go by yardage.
Yeah, patterns will say you need 1 skein of DK, and this is a perfect example of,
or so many ounces, or 100 grams, and this,
it's not, if it's not the same yarn, you need to look at yardage.
Because DK weight yarn, there's a lot of different yarns that are classified as DK weight, and some are heavier and some are lighter.
Well, same thing with worsted.
It's with any category.
Yeah.
I'm picking on DK because that's what this is.
That's what you are.
That's what I am. I'm DK. No, what's fun, this is like a heavy DK, but it looks wonderful. The Winter Haze collection from Melanie Rice. It's 3 patterns. They all require or ask for either DK or worsted weight, which means this yarn can work for all of them because it's a heavy DK. It's like borderline DK to worsted. So I have other things to show off later. So I'm gonna weigh how much I have of each of these stripes of color while we also take a look at whatever
I'm doing.
Liz wants to talk about next.
So I finally finished my square. Yay!
For your Milky Way hat
For my
shawl.
Milky Way hat shawl. And
It's so pretty.
it is.
She texted me to do some math for her.
Yeah. So you do 73 rows of 117 stitches across. And then you got to do 117 stitches all the way around on each side and 2 in the middle, or 2 on the corners. And I was like, how do I get this many stitches in my sides?
It's math.
It's math.
So 72 rows, 100 and what stitches? 114? No,
17.
17. If you divide 117 by 72, it came out to like 1.6, which means about a stitch and a half per row, or like if you take it every 2 rows should have about 3 stitches, but there still will be some fudging involved.
There were times I had to do 4 stitches per 3 rows, so it just I put a marker in the middle, and if I could get to the right half by the middle,
that's always a good idea when you have to pick up stitches or insert stitches over a large quantity. Break it up in half and then in half into increments where you can say, I'm supposed to have so many stitches in this section. And then, if by the end of that section you don't, you fudge it.
So there's my line for where I changed balls. And then when I was going around and around,
which shows up a lot more on camera than in real life.
Yeah, when I was going, you have to do a row of single crochet and then a row of double crochet in the teal too. And I ran out of the second ball going around the edge in the double crochet. Like, that's how much it's starting to eat up.
Wow.
It only eats up like 30 grams or just under 30 grams. No.
It's gonna get
yeah, it eats up about 20 or 30 grams going around the outside.
Look how pretty.
You do a row of double crochets and then a row of back loop single crochets.
That does not do it justice because it's nasty outside. Our lighting is kind of dank in here.
See if we can.
Because we don't have professional bright lights, which would reflect off everything anyway.
There
it's so pretty. Look at that. So that's like
almost 3 rows. Yep.
Yeah.
So
each stripe is a different color.
Purple will be the next row. And then I have a really pretty multicolor that has the purple and the green and the teal. If we didn't
have that mountain right there, we could probably see it. No, I mean, just you've got all the cute little handballs.
And then the next...
She handballed all this yarn. It's gorgeous. I can't handball this.
The next row is grasshopper green.
That's very pretty.
And then it'll go back through and end up with the dark chip.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on how much I have left after 2 rounds of each, I may or may not add more.
Very cool. Very, very cool. Okay. To report on my colors for my striped sweater. These are the original skeins I started with, which essentially have fingering weight yardage. They have like 430 or so yards on them. I have 39 to 40. It came out differently each time I weighed it. I have about 40 grams left of this. That's a decent amount. It's just because I'm pulling from the center and the center was getting hollow. I was like, oh, I'm running out of yarn. Oh my gosh.
You should be fine.
I should be fine. This one has about 49 grams. The other ones have like 52, 53. So My other three colors that have not been used in the cuff and the bottom cuff, which ribbing takes so much longer than just knitting around. Oh my gosh. It's a knit 2 purl 2 rib. I thought I was going to lose the will to knit, and I'd been knitting all day on this thing. Like all of Saturday was just knitting. I went from about 8 or 9 inches from the armholes to the 13 when I was done, or so 14 if I count the ribbing.
It seems like a week ago.
I know, but it was only Saturday and it took all day. My watch, because my watch is on the hand that throws the yarn, and I'm flicking. I'm not even like throwing. I'm just kind of going like this. My watch thinks I'm walking or running. I hit like a calorie high goal, like for the lifetime of my watch, because I tricked it, not because I actually did it. It thinks I burned over 1,000 calories.
It also thinks
in
you
a day.
walked 15 miles.
Yes. I am duplicitous with my watch, unfortunately. I haven't figured out the setting to not have it do that. It thinks I swim every day when I knit. And I did not move around much, if at all, on Saturday, and it thought that I had hit some super high goal.
My watch told me I walked like 6,000 steps again on Saturday because I was crocheting.
Oh, because you were crocheting.
Yeah,
I was
crocheting
like,
flicks
she
my
did
wrist
during a shop day because we didn't have time to work on any projects. But so I should have enough. I mean, to have almost half the skein left for the sleeves. The sleeves will take up almost as much yarn as the rest of the sweater. However, for a 50-inch girth of the sweater, maybe not quite as much as the body of this sweater. And everyone needs to never look at me from the side ever again. I said I would try. All right. Okay. So I worked on a lot this weekend.
You did.
I got this done, which I was this didn't have much. This had from here to the edge, long rows, but from only the edging to go when I hit this weekend. So I knew I could get this done and blocked. The other thing that is not like a piece of this sweater that I got done that I'm very excited about is I got my Stay Out of the Forest done. I had to, that was fun. I left this scale here at the shop. Mm-hmm. So I said, well, Brian has a scale. Brian has, and this is on pounds now, whatever. I just fudged it all up. Brian has a scale, a postal scale that's by weight, that, pressure weight. I mean, this is too, but it's an old timey, the thing kind of rolls down as more pressure is applied on the little bouncy thing on the top. And it's in ounces, which I didn't realize was going to be quite so problematic. It kind of was. He's like, well, it only goes up to so much weight. I'm like, no. I'm measuring like part of a ball of yarn. I need it to do small things. It needed to be able to do incrementally smaller things than it could, because 100 grams of yarn is 3.5 ounces. So when the smallest thing it goes down to is an ounce, or maybe kind of remotely half an ounce, that's not giving me really precise information. But this guy, you guys remember this, I'll hold them all up in a second. Each color was the exact same amount basically of yarn. Even though it looks like the stripes get thinner, it's because it gets a lot wider. Let me see if I can find,
you brought in your last little,
I had this much of my rose gold left. Yes, okay, we gotta find out.
I'm making sure it's in grams.
It's gotta go, it was in pounds, you gotta, yeah. I went till there's about half an ounce left, it looked like, which I thought would be maybe 15 grams or so. But this is more, I have to see if I could have gotten across another row. 13 grams left. That may or may not have been enough to, and for bind off?
Yeah, because if you were going to do one more row and the bind off.
No, I was just gonna, well, if I had done one more row and bound off with this, would it have been enough? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's borderline, but I did have some left. That is the thing with when you're changing colors and you have so many yards, but you have long rows. If you don't want to change colors in the middle of a row because you're not changing yarn, you're changing colors, you're going to have a little leftover. So this is not as big as the shawl is supposed to be, because I realized I was going to run out of yarn. So I shortened it in some ways considerably. I want to say I did not count at the end because I lost the will to worry about it. I want to say I probably had about 600 stitches or so, in the vicinity of 600 stitches.
That's a lot.
Yeah, if I'd followed the pattern, I would have been well over 700 stitches, and it probably would be several inches longer. But yardage and it, you know, it's a weird thing. So, Liz, if you could assist me when you have a moment. We're going to show this off. This is not blocked, by the way. This is my Stay Out of the Forest shawl. It is not blocked. It's funny, when I laid this out on the floor, it's hard to show off because the microphone's there. When I laid this out on the floor, I'm like, it's a lot smaller than I thought. But it's not. I mean, and with blocking, it's going to get bigger. Stretching it like, okay, just laying it out on the floor.
Pull at the top.
Oh. Just laying it out on the floor. And it's supposed to, yeah. It was a 50-inch wingspan. This is actually more than 50 inches probably because we're pulling on it. And the chevron shape, when I block it, we'll probably see, take a look at that. It'll probably grow a good few inches. Mm-hmm. But it's so pretty. Like the last row was from my...
Sorry. Slipped.
Ah! The last row is from my fingers to go like zip, 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 all the way around to over there. So it's in essence, this is a crescent shawl, even though we have the zigzags. So in a crescent shawl will have evenly distributed, or maybe just have the edge increases. This had edges and it was increasing at the end on every spike that's going down. So it was increasing every fourth row by 20 stitches. Because each little panel, like these guys are the biggest, these guys are almost as big. And then this is smaller and smaller and smaller. And this would have been a lot, this little guy would have been a lot bigger if I had enough yarn to fully complete the pattern. But I still like it. I still think it's super awesome. And to show you close up, we've got the dark gray, the light gray, the brown gray, and the rose gold. This is yarn dyed by Spunky Sheep. So like, I could wear it like this. Oh, look at that. Ooh.
It's pretty.
I'm going to try to block it. Like this was on my blocking pads. And this might be too big for my blocking pads. So I'm going to have to be creative. But this and the Papillon I finished last week, I want to block them both at some point. The one thing I did not do this weekend was take home my Papillon to block because I was all packed up and heading out the door and looked over and saw it and went, ah, and we've come too far. So it's staying here this weekend. But so I could wear this way. And we'll see how much bigger it gets. Right now, it's nice and comfortable right on my elbows. Another way to wear this would be to center it in the front and wrap the edges around. And then you get this center front. You get a lot of bulk up here. I'm also have another cowl underneath this, but you get a lot of bulk around the back of your neck. But center point here, this actually, yeah, I guess.
Which is nice depending on where you live.
Yeah. Depends on what you want to go for, but this is another way to wear it where my arms are free, but I'm still warm. So, but this stuff from Spunky Sheep, we have some coming. Oh no. I just pulled this out of my stitches on my sleeve. I'm just going to do it all the way and put them back in later. I sat on it, it came out. For something that long. Get stitch holders that stay put. I'm not going to stress about it right now. The other side is still in.
It might
I'm not going to. What, that these stitches might unravel is going to wig you out?
Maybe.
They're not facing you.
I know.
I'm not going to stress
the
about
thought
it.
of the unknown.
Yeah, I'm not going to stress about it till I get off camera. When I saw it was not the one end, it was the other end. I should have known better. Anyway, where was I? Spunky Sheep. This yarn is on its way from Spunky Sheep, who is in the next state over, but it's been rerouted through Mississippi for some reason. It'll eventually get here. When it does, we will let you know.
We don't know why, but occasionally things going from point A to point B go through point C.
Yeah, it's life. You know, we had a package from one of our knitters that we were sending to one of our knitters that decided to take a vacation in Greenville for like a month.
Yeah.
but it still got there eventually. So would it help if I covered up my sleeve like this? Now you can't see it anymore.
Yeah, but I know it's there.
Okay, but I still have stuff to show off, and I will just
keep layering it on.
If sure, why not? No, nothing else is finished though.
Oh,
nothing else is finished, and you see what happens when I put on things that aren't finished.
Yeah,
they start to fall apart. I can magically fix all that though if I need to. Even if it rips out, it won't because it's sticky. The alpaca and the merino is kind of sticky, but if it rips out 4 or 5 rows, I can fix it.
And she will.
Yeah,
she does
even if
that
it takes
whole
me all day.
voodoo thing going.
By the way, as I'm getting more stuff out, and this video may not come out right away, although hopefully if people are stuck in their houses because it's raining, although the rain's getting lighter, this will come out quickly. If you see this video and it's raining outside, make an appointment to come in, because we looked outside and went, there's parts of the day where it's going to be raining too hard to put the tent up for protection for outside shopping, and it's kind of clammy and yucky out. So outside shopping is hard, but you still need an appointment to come in. We have not opened up the shop yet, and that won't happen for quite some time. So make an appointment, please. It's very easy to do on sundragonartandfiber.com. Okay. What?
Oh, I was gonna say I started another Papillon, but while you're digging out.
You started another Papillon because I started a Papillon. And I started a Papillon not intending it to be a competition.
It's odd.
Horse pucky.
No, well, I based it off of a skein.
You talk about yours that really mine came first, but it's not.
Hers came first, and hers is so cool.
We brainstormed together on this, so it was fun. Talk about yours because I have several things to prep.
She does. So I bought some yarn off Etsy that was overdyed, and it was zombie something, and it was reds and purples and then speckles and then green, and I was like, ooh, we happen to have a palette and fiber space that would fade that through for a Papillon in the whole 5, and then your 6 and your pop of color.
You were brainstorming on this for at least a day or two.
So
don't you have projects for ideas for something else too?
Oh,
okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I have a lot. So anyway, my first is the background, because it's zombie, is Pebble Beach, because it's kind of that blue gray brown,
which is the fingering weight version of this.
Yeah. And then my first color is the strawberry. Strawberry.
I think it's strawberry in 5. Not all these. Some of these are fiber shades.
No, a bunch of mine are fiber.
Okay.
For this are fiber shades. Then we have strawberry, and then we have spiced plum.
Ooh.
And then because I didn't.
That's the one I'm making my golden fern out.
Yes, and it is so pretty. And then I will be moving from spiced plum into plum imps, which is even darker and fruitier.
That's okay. I get plum imps and grapes and all those confused.
And then
yummy.
I will be.
That's more tonal. That's more variety of tonal.
And then I move into grape.
See, that's
1, 2,
why.
3.
Yeah.
So plum imps into grape, and then I move into crocus. Wow.
Which is like pinks and slightly purples and browns, and browny grays,
blue gray stuff in there too. And then,
which for me would bring me full circle back to Pebble Beach. But there's other directions.
That's other.
She's also trying to go with stuff that will match her what's coming.
My scheme.
Her
and then it goes into green. The green is not the pop. Because it
not
fades.
The pop.
It's not the pop. My pop, because it's zombie, is Smoky Joe.
Ashy skin.
Yeah.
Ashen skin.
Yeah. So it's going to have this whole reds and purples with little greens and
it's gonna be
grays and browns, and it's.
And she was further along than I was, but apparently something went wrong, even though she's done a million of these and she had to project.
It was off by 2 stitches.
I said we could figure it out, but You just decided.
I was on row
She was
3.
They were so 3.
Like
no, section
3.
stripe 3. I'm like, you weren't on row 3 because that's like this much. You were like this much.
Yeah.
But still, they're short rows. So I've been wanting to do a Papillon out of the Puno, which has those giant cakes we have, 200 grams with essentially 3 colors. They kind of fade, but 3 colors. Overall creates almost a fade-like thing. Yeah. And I was looking at the blue for a really long time, but then
I'm gonna do it out of blue. She says.
Yes.
Yes.
Because I this is before I did my last one, and my last one has a lot of aquas and blues and things in it that I was like, I don't want to make another blue one because the one I have stuck on needles is kind of a tone of blue too.
Yeah.
So then I was looking at the other colors of blue. I was like, maybe I'll do teal. And I'm like, but teal, the one I just made is teal. Gorgeous colors. But then I saw this one, which might not strike you as the prettiest of the Puno colors. But if you're going to make a Papillon shawl that is the moth variation, moth colors, right? And we got some snow heritage to go with it. And then we were debating, should we go from the light to the dark or the dark to the light? And you saw one that went dark to light, but then had dark down the bottom of it. But and so
I found actual moths.
Yeah.
Not
real moths. Yeah. Although there are plenty of moth papillons out there that do really, really beautiful stuff. This is all I've done because we are starting with I'm on a 60, I'm just gonna hold it upside down. I'm on a 60-inch cord to prep for like when I want to take pictures and it's really big, but not that I need a 60-inch cord right now. But with our red lace, see the red? No memory, which is great. But that inflexibility actually makes it hard for me to show off. There we go. I take enough of it out of the bag. Haven't done very much because I got sidetracked by all my other projects this weekend. But I did this before Liz said, wait, you started another Papillon?
It was like, you started another what? Oh.
Mike, we talked about this.
We did, but
not about me starting it that night, but about picking out colors for my next one.
We picked out colors and it was like, yeah, I'll get to it. And she went home and like started. So I felt behind.
I didn't say we had a friendly competition on the last one, but since in my opinion, the COVID shot stole her of all of her will to knit. That's the only reason I finished before her on the last one. Now she's got to make up. That's my theory.
I only have like a billion Papillons on needles, so.
Okay, so let me talk about the other things that I did, and then we have to figure out how we're going to run the shop in the rain today. So the next thing I have to show, well, okay, we're going to go in order of things that have been on needles the longest. I worked for like half a second last night and this morning on this guy, which is my Glimmer Poncho, which I haven't touched in a very long time. This is only like half done. What?
So I was surfing Instagram the other day. I don't know why, but I went to check Instagram. I rarely do. But I go through and there's Rebecca's morning meditation thing. And it's just this little pink squiggle. And I was like, I thought she was further along on her Glimmer Shawl than that. And then I realized
the pink squiggle's not my Glimmer.
No,
Continue.
And then I realized that it was your other one. But I was like, she's further along on that.
We'll explain that in a second. So the Glimmer Poncho is going to like hang off like this kind of a thing, with this lovely end, and it's gonna you make a really long rectangle, and you fold it and sew it. So that's why this is half of it, and it's gonna be so pretty. It's gonna be my fall, spring, more fall, but I might finish it during the spring. Because it says Glimmer, I'm making it out of Get It From Metal Tweed, which has sparkle in it, which does not show up on camera, especially when it is a gloomy day outside. But this is how much is of my second skein. At this point, it's going to take at least 3. It might take 4 skeins of this. But Glimmer But the metal tweed from Getafra is fuzzy and sparkly, and little chunks of tweedy flecks in it. It's really, really pretty.
Really.
Which is why I really should get back to this and do it more. But I'm trying to at least once a week reach back to the super old projects that I love, but I've been sidetracked by new yummies. So this did not look super huge and great when I did it on morning meditation. But, and this is going to be really hard since it's not 16-inch needles, not to have it pop off like my shoulder did. And still show it.
Really don't want.
I really don't want this one to pop off because I can show you some of the color work in it. Oh, that looks fun. This is like maybe not even, this is maybe a quarter of the whole length. This is also a Melanie Rice. I'm doing a lot of Melanie Rice stuff right now. This is Winter Brush Cowl. It's written for fingering weight. I'm using leftovers from my Papillon. And plus some new colors. This is the one I agonized over what colors to put where. It's going to be very bright. Hers is very muted tones. It's very, very pretty. But this is going to be very bright. I'm very excited. And I have 8 of the 9 colors involved, and I'm trying to not have to cut them or knit them in, or so I am really trying to have this not slip off. I don't have stitch stoppers. I know I should. I'm trying to carry yarns up, but not all at once in a big chunk, but only to lock in like one a row or so, and it's going to be interesting. They're my floats. Put it on my floats. This may look crazy and complicated, but here's the good news is if you follow it how it's written with all the crazy colors, you're only using 2 colors a row. All the others are just hanging back there. Yeah. She has it color charted, which is what I'm using because it makes my brain hurt less. She has it symbol charted where each of these 9 colors has a symbol. And she also has it charted with only 2 symbols, like blank and 1 symbol, in case you don't want to do it. Like again, only 2 colors are used every row. Say you only wanted to have a background color and a contrast color. She has it done for that too. Or if you wanted to do your own color combination. I'm going to follow when she changed colors, but my colors will be brighter and not do exactly what hers did. So you can see what else can be done with this. I'm having fun with that. So I worked on this a little bit this weekend. And that might have been Sunday, if I remember correctly. I could, because Saturday was all day on this one. But then because I finished my Ashes and Soot, which by the way, I think I was going to say, and I got sidetracked. This is the smallest size of it, but I think it's a great size. I don't know. Generous. It's a generous small, definitely. Like, and for a triangle cowl and everything, I don't know if I would want it bigger. So I'm happy with a 1 skein project out of this. But since this is done, I moved on to the next project I wanted to do from the Winter Haze collection, which is the Cameo Shawl, which is what Liz is talking about with the little squiggly pink thing. It's not quite so little anymore, but it's because it's so long. So the Cameo starts at the very top. Widest, it's a triangle shawl that doesn't start in the middle of the top and get bigger. It starts at the widest point of it and gets smaller as you go. And of course I decided upon looking at it that I couldn't just do the biggest, like the pattern starts with just under 300 stitches. It's like 290 something. And I was like, I don't know if that's going to be big enough.
And of course I was supportive of this.
Right? Her instructions say if you want to make it bigger, you have to add multiples of 71 stitches to have this work right. Excuse me, in the end. So I added 71 stitches, which means it's over 350 stitches. I did a cable cast on, which is a version of a knitted cast on, because I didn't want to have to worry about running out of yarn or have a super huge long tail left over from a long tail cast on. That was like one whole knit night was just casting on.
Yeah.
And I put it on a 60-inch cord for knitting, but it is a 60-inch. So if I do this, here's the whole start of it. Isn't that awesome? I blew Brian's mind when I was like, this is the, and he was like, what? It probably is a little wider than the 60 inches.
Well, if you gently,
yeah,
when you block it, it's going to grow another 2 inches per, little region.
So making it with the regular cast on, it's probably going to be big enough. But I was like, I'm going to make it bigger. So it took me a while to get it big enough to actually show off on a morning meditation. But I'm on my Likey needles, like Likey tips with a really long cord, because the longest fixed cord we sell in the shop is 40 inches. This could probably jam onto a 40-inch cord.
Oh, yeah.
But I like to spread it out to show y'all. But what that means is it's finally starting to almost, when I'm holding it like this with the weight spread out. But if I'm not holding it with the weight on it, it wants to curl. So that's why my picture on morning meditation, because this is not a chow group cord. A chow group cord would be like, but the Likey cord is what? Sorry. Something like that. Anyway, as I go, it's probably going to become less kinky on me and spirally. But as I go, this is also going to be shorter, because this shawl, the Cameo, like this is right side up. It's going to get smaller every row that I knit. Every row, it decreases 2 stitches, right side and wrong side. So it, in theory, will get faster as I go, which is going to be really exciting and fun. Right now,
she'll have like 4 feet left to go, and the next thing you know,
I'll be done. Yeah. Right now, I'm probably about 16 rows total into this or so. And where's our lovely scale? I'm almost through my first skein of yarn. So let's see. Probably less through 38 grams. So it feels like I'm almost out of yarn. I still have, and it's doing that little gnome thing. When I pull from the center, especially if I've wound it at home, it starts to do this little gnome hat thing as I pull from the center. All of these are little gnome mounds right now,
we sell yarn socks that kind of help take care of that.
Yeah. Do I use the things I sell? No, they're ridiculously cute, but I don't want to take inventory out of the shop. So I don't use the things I sell some of the times when I should. But then you couldn't see the colors because they'd be in these really cute little yarn socks, yarn cozies. Check them out online. So I still have a good chunk of this left, but I'm probably only going to get through a few more rows. Like again, 14 rows. Oh, well over half my skein yarn. But as I go, I'm going to use it less. So I'll keep you all updated if you want to make a bigger size of this, how much yarn you will need. I think I'm going to need 4 or 5 skeins, but it's going to be so pretty. This has lace and cables. I did my first cables right in there. So it's going to be lacy and twisty, and it's going to be just absolutely gorgeous. I was so excited to start this, even though I should be working on all my older projects. So that may have been the last thing that I worked on this week. In terms of cast on, freshest cast on. Not sure what I'm going to work on during this week. I have older projects that maybe haven't been in the morning meditation rotation for a week that I should get back to, but some of these are just too much more fun right now. They're all fun, but I have to keep, changing it up. So we should probably get ready to start open the shop soon. I'm sure I'm missing something. But
it's my hook. I was like, what is on me?
This is the problem with seeing ourselves when we film. I start to talk about how I don't want to look at myself from a side view, and you start trying to flick off bugs and things that aren't on you.
There's something on you. Get it off, get it off.
All right. To wrap up, regular schedule this week, we have knit night tonight. Daylight savings did happen, which is why half of the things we said were like, what? Huh? And why in my tips and tricks video yesterday, I called third loop stitches and back loop only stitches the same thing when they're not. And then after I filmed, went, oh crap. So tried to do some creative editing. You guys can tell me if it worked or not. But it means next week I probably have to do a back loop only video, even though that should have come before the third loop video. And if you're not a crocheter, I'm speaking gobbledygook right now. But you can learn about it and watch videos. If I haven't confused the heck out of people. with yesterday's video.
I crochet and I was like, third loop. What?
You don't know what a third loop?
I figured it out, but we're only have a new front loop, back loop. I didn't dabble with any of those. Were crazy.
Third loop might be what Jessica's thing that made the ribbing was. Maybe, but that might have been back loop. Anyway, but I was like, the back loop, the third loop, but it's front loop, back loop of the top ones, and then third loop. And it was when I was looking back at the really crazy make along that I'm doing that's using both of them, but I was conflating in my brain that they were the same when I was filming. And I looked down at what I was doing and I'm like, this one has the whole top pop towards me, but down in there I only have like a little line showing. And I was like, oh crap.
With this, it was the square was half double crochet and one in the front loop and one in the back loop. But for a while, I was sticking it in the back loop and the third loop.
It was as a V.
Yeah,
which you can kind of do, but it doesn't look as good.
It was trying to figure out where your holes are when you're doing back loop, front loop, back loop, front loop, back loop, front loop was difficult. So I had rolled the edge too far, and it happens. Yeah, I was like, wait, this doesn't look right, and so yeah.
But the third loop it was fun drawing it out because it's it was just fun doing that. Not everyone likes that, but I have fun doing that. So anyway, that was daylight savings is throwing us for a loop. Like last night, oh my gosh, or it was 2 nights ago, doesn't matter, same problem. We jumped forward an hour, and yet, so like when it was 9 o'clock, one of those nights, it really was only 8, but for some reason my brain was doing the fall one, saying it feels so late, and I'm like, but it's not late. It's actually earlier than it should be. So why do I feel like it's later than it should be? Mind blowing during this craziness. So all of that to say, if you wanted to join us for knit night tonight and you are especially outside of the US or just outside of time zones who do this, 6 to 9 p.m. tonight is not what it was last week. It's shifted by an hour. So it starts what last week would have been 5 p.m. Anyway, you'll catch us for some of it if you try to come, hopefully.
Hopefully, if you have a world clock on your phone, look at what Eastern Daylight Savings Time.
It means, I think, does that mean that we will end earlier than people might expect if they're not using daylight savings, something like that. Anyway, 6 to 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time is when we are meeting tonight. Use the shop phone number 828-877-3550 to join, and please turn your camera on or let us know that you intend to be there for peaceful purposes. Tomorrow is the most dangerous day of the week, right? We don't know what we're selling yet.
Never do.
Whatever. I have thoughts maybe, but we'll see if they come to fruition. We'll try to do at least one new yarn, hopefully, because there's still yarns we haven't put up online. It's ridiculous, but it's time consuming. So Thursday is Dear Becky and Lizzy. And if you want to get us something by Thursday, you probably just want to email
me, liz@sundragonartandfiber.com. Also,
that clock hasn't been changed, so I just got thrown for a loop for a second. I was like, if you want to send us a cute little letter or card or something fun like that, you can write to Dear Becky and Lizzy, Sun Dragon Art and Fiber, 35 South Broad Street, Brevard, North Carolina, 28712. And this Saturday,
Friday night's knit night again.
Yeah, okay, fine. We're going through the whole week.
And then this Saturday,
knit night, 6 to 9 p.m. This Saturday is our afternoon sit and stitch. Our monthly finally is here for March. Join us on Facebook or on Zoom. Same phone number for Zoom. Same shop phone number gets you into Zoom. Facebook Live, we will see. Last month, the streaming on Facebook Live was kind of chunky and wonky. But all the other times, we've done it for like a bunch of months now, and that was the first time it was really noticeable.
I want to say it's been over 6 months.
Yeah. And that was the first month that people went, So we'll take our chances again because we're not adding in another platform because I only have 2 devices and it's confusing enough. So So join us Saturday afternoon for fun and knitting all day, and we'll see if my hands cramp up. And and I think I'll just announce it here. We're probably gonna do a flash sale tomorrow because it's St. Patty's Day, and why not? If you missed last week's incredible sale, that was all week. It won't be as much, but we should be having a flash sale online and at the shop tomorrow. For St. Patrick's Day, that will be 17% off. And
look at social media 17th of March.
Yeah, look on social media, or we might have a little announcement up on the online shop for a code, because I haven't picked a code yet. And I know for some people there's ways to have it, you get percentages out without a code, but we're not that sophisticated. You need to put a code in, and I'll come up with something like St. Patty's or something short and sweet where you can save money. So if you missed out on last week's sale, or there's something else you want to get, you can save 17% off tomorrow. Stay tuned for more info. Check social media. I should get something up in the morning. Anyway, yeah, I think that's it. And we should open the shop, and the rain is picked up again. So make an appointment if you want to come in.
Yeah, it's really nasty out.
Or just stay home and shop online. Yeah, we'll be here. We'll see you tomorrow. Love y'all. I have to go deal with this that is actually nagging at me too right now. So we'll see how bad it is. Maybe I'll photo document it for y'all. So bye.
Bye.